Saturday, almost 3:30. I said, okay, let's go for a walk. Perhaps this will be our last walk of the day. There is a storm approaching. In the morning, then we didn't have any rain, but now once again, storm is closing in from Italy. I just checked, the radar map, and it's quite a possibility that it will pass just south of Ljubljana, and here we will have no rain once again. But I said, Liza also came to me that she wants to go for a walk, so I said, okay, let's go. They are still, dealing with the consequences of the storms, the floods, the rain, the fallen trees from this past week. Not only, local population, firefighters, but also military. So soldiers were deployed at 3 locations which were, badly hit. And, majority, let's say the cause of the problem is primarily regulation of the waterways. With regulation, I mean building onto the banks of the streams, the rivers, and make them, let's say, what would be the correct term? Basically, you encase the slopes, the banks of the water waves, mainly due to the fact that they are building right upon the water waves, right to them, because it's, of course, prime real estate. But then, when you are, preventing the river or stream to overflow in a natural way, and then instead of, let's say, that flood happens in the open field as it used to, but now, because the settlements had expanded, all that fields that used to serve as a flood system, because they would overflow with water, so that the main settlement would be spared. Now all this water goes through this encased with paths directly into the settlements, and usually the choke points will be some heavy turn, or in the path of the river, or most likely there will be some bridge. And when the flood water brings along also trees, bushes, debris, large stones, boulders, they will accumulate at these choke points, and then the water will overflow usually, you know, in the middle of the settlement, and then just destroying everything, houses. And yeah, this is what is happening more and more. People are, of course, leaving, you know, cities because it's too expensive. They are moving from the city center and building in the, you know, outer layers of the cities, of the settlements, you know, back to the nature. But unfortunately, they are building in areas which were previously used. They were necessary for, you know, natural deflooding, let's call it that, or to prevent major flooding. And you know, here in Ljubljana, we have the same problem. Let's say on the south part of Ljubljana, there are old marshes. And you know, they had been regulating them for, you know, centuries. You know, to remove the excess water and so forth. But you know, in the old days, those parts were mainly used for agriculture, you know, fields and so forth. They were, you know, because there was quite a lot of water there, that was good for, you know, growing things. But now, you know, people are started to build also there. And you know, of course, local municipality allows this, even though they know that this is, you know, highly vulnerable area to build upon in case of, you know, major rain, and of course then flooding. And yeah, then you have new like you know, apartment buildings, or even like major, let's say, you know, neighborhoods, let's say, you know, when there are several apartment buildings, complexes, let's say, built at once, and you know, they are all flooded at first major storm. Or like here in our case, you know, the problem is also because everything is, you know, the green areas inside of the city are being developed. There is no, you know, natural way for the water to drain, to seep into ground, and then everything goes onto the street, the roads, and then when they overflow, we get, you know, water in the basement. So yeah, let's say we have a systematic problem. Okay, let's end on this point.